1 million UFO sightings are reported each year. Most can be debunked, but 5% remain unexplained. These are the close encounters.
We're working on your stuff, so it's fine.
Yes. Hello. Oh, hello. Renata.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Welcome back, Renata.
Thank you so much. Good to see you.
That's great. We have finished.
So I'm just going to the campground.
Okay, Soma, go ahead.
Every summer, thousands of Christian youth like Francois Tanteau and Renata Fa gather in central France for a week of prayer and Bible study.
Yes, I work out all the time. Yes.
Taizé is an important religious community. All the witnesses we are going to talk about were there for a gathering, a Christian gathering of the 15th of August.
Ciao, Francois.
Oh, how are you?
Oh, good, yes. Good.
May I sit with you?
Oh, sure, yes. Thank you.
They were camping in the vicinity. And some of them were having a sort of gathering around a fire.
There's so many spiders out tonight. I hope they do not end up in my tent.
Don't worry, there's just tiny little spiders like this. You can... What is it, Renata?
Nothing, I don't know. What activity should you do tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow I think we're going to be doing some canoeing.
Oh, yes.
And we're going to be doing, that's going to be in the afternoon. In the morning we're going to...
Renata Fa noticed a big star in the sky.
C'est quoi ça?
I don't know.
François Tanteau had a very nervous feeling.
The sighting attracts other nearby campers.
There was another young Frenchman and an Italian young man who was a student there. They described a series of lights on a huge dark mass, like a cylinder or something like that.
It radiates a series of unusual beams of light.
The beams seemed not to reach completely the ground.
The witnesses appear to be confronted by a little-known optical phenomenon called solid light.
Solid light cases involve the projection of light in a column of light, like the lightsabers that are used in the Star Wars movies.
Scientifically, it's completely impossible. Nobody knows how to do that today.
And yet here we have this kind of tubular light.
Intrigued, the witnesses decide to investigate. But only a few hundred meters from the campsite, they literally hit a wall.
They became aware of what appeared to be like a hedge between them and this unusual object.
A hedge that wasn't there when they passed through the area earlier that day.
What we would find later on was that investigators determined that there was no such hedge at that location in the valley.
It seemed that the edge was there to prevent them from coming too close.
At that point, they start to become very concerned that something quite strange is going on.
Francois Tanteau goes in for a closer look.
It just got a hell of a lot weirder for them.
A group of young Christian pilgrims notice a strange object in the distance. When they try to get closer, their path is blocked by a giant hedge that seems to have come out of nowhere.
There was no such hedge at that location in the valley.
Through the hedge, Francois Tanteau sees a large mound-shaped mass in the shadows.
A different object, distinct from the main large object that they were heading towards. This different object appeared to be like a missile shell or a bullet-shaped thing, but rather broader at the base.
Suddenly, the object becomes fully illuminated, and it's enormous.
One of the witnesses suggested it was a bus, but it was much bigger than that. They estimated the size of this object at 40 meters wide.
Witnesses describe a series of lights circling the object.
Some sort of agile red light that was moving inside it and also outside of it.
They were like discs. François had the idea of flashing light toward the object to see better.
But the flashlight beam starts behaving very strangely.
It bends and is projected upwards and again behaves in a way similar to a Star Wars lightsaber effect where it suddenly becomes a column of light.
One of the big lights pointed a beam toward them, which blinded them for a while.
Some of them reported tingling, almost like a pins and needle effect. That has occurred in a number of different solid light cases, but quite often the effects can be more dramatic, even to the point of paralysis.
At that point, they became anxious and frightened.
A retreat was on their mind at that point.
Back at the campsite, they see the same object that originally caught their attention.
The original UFO was still there, and when they came back, they kept observing it.
Back at the site, the campers are drawn once again to the skies.
The big object suddenly went off rather fast toward the south. In the morning, they went back to the field, and there was nothing left. No object, no fence, nothing.
But Francois Tanteau does uncover some evidence. When he returns to the site, he finds an area of burnt and desiccated grass, 30 meters long, the same dimension as the second object. When he speaks to the landowner, Tanteau is told that the desiccated grass is where a farmer earlier burned some hay. In a nearby woods, Tanteau finds a large broken branch beside a healthy aspen tree. The leaves under the damaged tree are grayish-brown and dotted with numerous blue and white spots. Tanteau notifies the French UFO group Lumière dans la nuit, lights in the night. They conduct a chemical analysis of the aspen leaves. No conclusive result is ever found.
They actually decide to follow this thing.
Tu crois? Oh, c'est quoi ça? Mon Dieu!
They think, is it a helicopter? What's going on?
Bonsoir. Ainsi, nous sommes à la frontière ce soir? Bien sûr. Espérons que ça va être calme. Ah oui. Ainsi,
Federal Belgian policemen Heinrich Nickel and Hubert von Montigny begin their evening shift. The night is clear, with excellent visibility.
They were on patrol very near the German border, just a few kilometers from the German border, around a small town called Eupen in Belgium.
Voiture 16, accident signalé au poste frontière numéro 4. Procédez immédiatement.
bien sûr. Le pont central, on y va.
At exactly 5:15 p.m., the officers see a large empty field flooded with bright lights.
Suddenly, there was this light over this field. It was almost like they were approaching a sports arena or something.
And they're beginning to think, what is this? What is causing this bright light? And they look around for something. They think, is it a helicopter?
They don't have gigantic spotlights that can light up a whole field.
When they do discern the shape to this thing, they soon realize this is no helicopter.
They looked up and they saw this triangular object above the field, 3 bright white lights, one on each corner of the triangle, and a red light in the center. Absolutely silent.
Le pont central. Le pont central. C'est voiture 16 ici.
Voiture 16, Open Central. Quel est votre statut, s'il vous plaît?
Central. Il y a quelque chose dans le ciel.
Voiture 16.
When you radio in something like this, sometimes I think people in dispatch think, am I the victim of some sort of practical joke? There's a prank, what's going on here?
Dispatch contacts 4 local airports. Each report no unusual activity in the area.
Que voulez-vous dire?
Je n'ai jamais vu quelque chose comme ça.
The object inches ever closer.
I don't know quite where they were on the spectrum between fear and wonder, but whatever this thing was, it generated some highly unusual and intense emotions with these 2 men.
The mysterious craft then pulls away in a southwestern direction.
Their basic instinct here is to investigate. So despite the unease and possibly being confronted by something that may even prove to be a threat, they actually decide to follow this thing.
What started as a routine police patrol is now anything but.
It's clear to them, whatever they've encountered is highly unusual.
Two Belgian federal policemen encounter a strange triangular craft over a field. When it moves away, they chase it down, determined to find out what it is.
Plus vite! Plus vite! Il faut aller plus vite! D'accord.
It was almost like it was gliding over the land. It moved slowly enough that they could follow it in their car. It didn't zoom off like you have in many other cases.
In of itself, this slow speed is interesting and unusual. If you're confronted with an aircraft, you would expect this thing to be traveling at several hundred miles an hour.
Tu le vois? Ça s'approche du lac maintenant.
They followed the object to a lake right outside of town.
The triangular craft finally stops over Lake Gillette.
At this point, the UFO is about 300 feet away from them and 250 feet above the water. It's now been about an hour since they first saw this. UFO sightings are often very fleeting, but here, to have one for such a long time is significant. There was a sense of anticipation. They felt that something was going to happen, and sure enough,
This red light ball is the best way to describe it. A red round thing that looked like a ball of light was kind of shot out from the craft and then came back to the craft. They described it as looking like a diver that had like some kind of an underwater gun that they might fire out that had a string attached to it to try to catch a fish or something, and then they would pull it back in. Very hard to know what this red light ball thing was doing. Possibly it's some kind of observation probe that they were sending out to check something out about the water. It's pure conjecture.
is it surveying the area? Is this some sort of a grid search? What's going on? Just when they think it can't get any stranger, it does. A second craft appears, almost identical to the first one.
The second craft comes in on a tilted angle, exposing the upper side of the fuselage.
They could see a dome on the top and what looked to them like windows.
The moment you talk about windows, you're dealing with the concept of, well, if there are windows, there are occupants. And at that point, it tilts. It almost nods at the witnesses. They describe it like it wants to be seen. It wants them to see it. It's almost acknowledging their presence.
Voiture 16, c'est Open Central. Voiture 16, recevez-vous?
Voiture 16, allez-y.
Voiture 16, sachez que nous avons une autre localisation. Cette fois, dans la zone Henri-Chapelle.
Throughout the night, calls keep coming in for similar sightings across the region.
Voiture 16, nous venons de recevoir un troisième et quatrième rapport de policiers dans d'autres régions.
On y va.
By the time the evening was over, there had been hundreds of witnesses to these events. That first night alone, there were estimated about 1,500 witnesses.
These sightings became known as the Belgian wave. Now, a wave is a term used to describe an event where there's not just one sighting or a couple, but sightings coming in from a wide variety of locations that are perceived to be linked in some way.
The events of November 29th, 1989 are documented by 30 different groups of witnesses and by 13 different officers in 8 separate locations. 4 months later, on March 30th, 1990, Belgium police once again report an unknown object flying over Belgium. The Belgian Air Force scrambled 2 F-16 jets to investigate, while dozens of civilians on the ground claim to witness the object as it's chased by F-16s. The actual pilots claim no visual confirmation of the object. A mysterious craft is captured on film the following month, but the photographer later comes forward and admits that his image was a hoax. Of the approximately 2,000 reported cases registered during the Belgian wave, 650 are investigated. 500 remain unexplained.